Welcome to the Office of Hyugren Investigations. I'm Hyugren, your nomadic gamer and private investigator. Let's see if we can right some wrongs in judgment. That well, not exactly a lie. We'll say it was a lie.
Shono-san was lying when he said he saw Waku-san in the bed.
Excuse me?
What he saw from the door was likely nothing more than a bulge of sheets. He couldn't have been able to identify it specifically as Waku-san. So to claim as much in his testimony seems like quite an exaggeration, don't you think?
But common sense would dictate otherwise, would it not? Who would be in the bed other than Waku-san?
The staff nurses are trained to always enter a room when checking in on a patient. In Waku-san's case, it's impossible to tell anything just by looking in from the hallway. There was actually one time a while back where we thought he was under the covers, only to find Waku-san eating in the break room a second later. And upon re-examining the room, we realized that we had mistaken a bunched-up pillow for Waku-san.
The witness makes an important distinction. The prosecution asserts that Shono-san's testimony is clear, that the victim was taken out of his room at some point between 7:50 and 8:30 in the morning. They claim that because of this time frame, the defendant must have smuggled Waku-san's body out in his laundry bin.
And that's why Okubo-kun was assumed to be the only person who could have killed Waku-san.
But if Shono-san's testimony is invalid, as the defense asserts, we have to consider the possibility that Waku-san was taken in the middle of the night when nobody else was around. After which, the killer could have waited until the morning to plant the body in the defendant's truck. In other words, the defense establishes that there is reasonable doubt that Okubo-san is the killer, rendering the prosecution's central argument unsound. Your Honor, taking this new testimony into account, I'd like to call Shono-san back to the stand for cross-examination.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna rip a man apart.
Shono-san.
Yes?
You negligent man. Let's see how Shono responds with that evidence of Terasawa-san's testimony out in the open.
I'll get right to the point. On the day of the crime, what did you see when you looked into Waku-san's room?
I saw Waku-san asleep in his bed, I think.
And did you get a clear look at his face?
I don't remember.
So it's possible that it could have been someone other than Waku-san in that bed. Or maybe even a pillow that you mistook to be Waku-san's body. Isn't that right?
Objection! The defense is leading the witness.
You shut your bald
Sustained.
face up.
Please rephrase the question.
Okay.
Shono-san, can you say without a doubt that Waku-san was in that bed when you checked on him?
I don't think I can, no.
Then the defense rests. But
Bam.
I do have a quick remark for the prosecution.
Oh
Huh?
boy. Prosecution's argument has fallen apart. Now to go in for the kill.
The charges against my client stem from your assertion that he's the only possible suspect, assuming the crime took place within the stated time frame. However, the defense has proven without a doubt that Shono-san's testimony is unreliable, establishing reasonable doubt for my client. I would suggest then that you withdraw the charges against my client. With such inconclusive evidence, you'll only be wasting the court's precious time.
The prosecution does not consider the witness's testimony inconclusive. His memory of the incident may be fuzzy, yes, but that doesn't change that he saw the victim.
He assumes he saw.
So, your whole case is based on a fuzzy memory?
Ooh.
This promising young man's future is at stake, and you're willing to throw that away on unreliable testimony?
Dr. Shono is a bright and diligent researcher. After watching his own grandmother develop dementia, he vowed to create a drug that could cure the disease. After paying his own way through medical school, he went on to become the head researcher at the ADDC. Day after day, Dr. Shono visits his sick patients out of the kindness of his heart, leading to his valiant testimony here today.
And yet,
If you want to know whether I trust this man, then my answer is a resounding yes.
In other words, because he's such a great researcher, his testimony is infallible. His own admission that he's not sure is somehow overlooked? Is that the sum of it? Because from here, it sounds like you're putting your faith in Shono-san's title, not his testimony today.
The prosecution is not as easily swayed as you think. And you want to talk reputation? What of your client's history of domestic abuse?
Uh-oh. He's gonna bring up Okubo's record.
6 years ago, the defendant broke his girlfriend's finger. The poor girl is still suffering from the effects. And the cause? A minor, drunken disagreement. Now, fast forward to what occurred a few days prior to the crime. Waku-san, suspecting the defendant of stealing his wallet, lashed out and punched the defendant in the face. Given the clearly violent nature of Okubo-san here, that alone would be motivation enough to murder the poor old...
What's going on right now? Like, why are you
Is something
standing?
wrong, ma'am? Please remain seated while court is in session.
Got that whole no, I don't think I will moment.
Terasawa-san?
What you gonna say?
Okubo-san is not a violent person. And he hasn't even had a drink in over 6 years. Not a single drop since the incident.
My court will not stand for this commotion.
That's why we're
He
sitting.
didn't blame Waku-san at all. He knew that the outburst was just caused by his dementia, that it was all the sickness's fault. So there was no reason for him to resort to murder.
Terasawa-san, please.
Okubo-san really is an incredible, caring person.
Please leave this courtroom at once.
You're right that he may be hard to approach,
Emotions
but
are
he's a kind
flowing
soul,
harder on
and he
her.
always keeps his promises. Okubo-san's not the only person in this courtroom who would be affected by a guilty verdict, either. As a matter of fact, it would break my heart.
Woman feelings are
And
not
even
considered
through
in
it
this
all-
courtroom.
He wanted me to keep this a secret, not to tell anyone, not even his lawyer, that we were dating.
What the balls? Dude, what?
Even though he knew he could have ended up in prison, making sure I was safe was the only thing in the world he cared about. That's just who he is.
Dag freaking nabbit.
But when the prosecution has already decided he's a criminal, how could he possibly be given a fair trial?
I mean, that's kind of the prosecutor's job, miss.
Her little outburst wasn't technically admissible. But as the trial dragged on, it hung over the jury like a stone. And in the end, Shinpei Okubo was found not guilty. But only a month after his release, everything changed. The same girl who had so bravely proclaimed Okubo's innocence died by the man's own hand.
Fucking. I'm sure we can all agree that that is super messed up.
Hi.
Something wrong?
No, it's nothing, Vice Minister.
But
I haven't seen you in about 3 years, Kido-san. I see you're still the director.
You look familiar, but I can't quite place the name. I seem to recall you looking sharper.
I'm a detective based in Kamurocho now.
Bad one.
The name's Yagami.
Ah, I remember now. You're the reason Terasawa-kun's no longer with us. Remember, Shono?
Okubo-san was unstoppable. If only my testimony had been better.
Yeah.
Shono-san, right?
Does it matter? What brings you here anyway?
I'm investigating a murder, and I'll need your cooperation with it. Just like old times.
That's gonna be a no, though. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yes, I see. Yes. Thank you.
There's no way he's gonna agree to let us investigate.
It does seem we received a phone call from this Shintani-san you speak of.
Do you know who he was calling?
Dr. Shono.
The same Shono-san you were just with?
Why would Shintani call Shono?
Yes. However, it's unclear as to what the point of the call was meant to be. Shono was away from his desk at the time, you see, and Shintani-san didn't leave a message.
You have no idea what he wanted to talk about?
None. Shono says he doesn't know a Shintani-san, and sees no reason why he would be calling.
Oh, really?
Look, Shono and I co-authored the research paper on AD9. We're quite well known, as it turns out. Sometimes, complete strangers pretend to be close friends or relatives in order to contact us. Perhaps Shintani-san fell into that category.
No,
Have you heard of
likely.
the mole murders taking place in Kamurocho, Dr. Kido? 3 Yakuza, each one with their eyes gouged out. It's a grisly business. Shintani was killed in the same way.
I've seen the news.
Can you think of anything tying the ADDC to those murders?
Huh? Look, just what are you implying? Look, I believe we're done here. There's nothing I can help you with.
Please stop! You can't!
The balls?
Who are you?
Detective Kuroiwa, Kamuro Police, organized crime.
Okay. Why are you here?
One of your guests here has information related to the case I'm currently investigating.
Oh, you couldn't wait? Bro, I was almost
That would
done.
be you, Yagami. I'd like to speak to you as a material witness to the murder of the lawyer Masamichi Shintani.
Is that so?
There's a lot of blank stares passing around.
I'm Hoshino, an attorney at Genda Law Office. Officer, is this interview voluntary, or...?
It is.
It's your call, Yagami-san.
Sweet.
I think I'll pass.
Of course.
Excuse me?
You have your answer, sir. You can go now.
You can make this easier if you come now. Next time, it won't be voluntary.
Of course.
Your empty threats don't mean much to a lawyer.
Can you take this elsewhere?
Yeah, seriously.
I really must be...
Too bad he's not a lawyer anymore, then. Your friend's nothing now. Just come along quietly. I'll come back with a warrant if I have to.
I'd like to see you try. Why do you suspect me anyway? I bet you don't even have a reason.
I can come up with a few good ones.
Enough! Get the hell out of my office.
Seriously, this is my
You'll
place. Get
regret
out.
this, Yagami.
Kuroiwa-san.
Hi. How you doing? You got a name there? I'm gonna call you Skip. Bye, Skip.
You two, out.
Can I
Before
ask
we
you one more
go,
thing?
can we speak to Shono-san for a sec? We need to know why Shintani called him.
Listen, I already told you he doesn't know. Get it through your skull. Now, please leave.
No problem. We'll let you get back to work.
So much
This is
extra
really
drama.
getting out of hand, don't you think? I can't believe that detective thinks you're a material witness.
Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about. But what I'm more interested in is how he even knew where to find me.
That's a good point. How would the police know we were here?
Well,
Beats me.
someone would call
For
them.
now, let's focus on Shono, though. It would be a waste coming here and not talking to him.
Agreed. Let's see if the receptionist can help us.
Okay, so to the receptionist. So, how would the cops know that I was here? Who would alert them? There's 3 possible people. There's Dr. Shono. There's the director, Dr. Kyo. And then there's the that other suit that was with him. I would put my money on Dr. Shono calling. I want to thank you folks for coming by to watch my videos. It means a lot to me. Now if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more of my content, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Maybe start a conversation in the comments. Now I publish content every Tuesdays and Thursdays, but if you feel like you need an extra reminder, go ahead and click that notification bell. And until next time folks, peace.